Before we go straight to the skeletons, I want to tell you a story. I wrote a book. I wrote a book because when I would meet people and I would tell them about my background, they said, "You should write a book." So I did. Born in Las Vegas, raised in Hong Kong, I'd gone to 8 schools by the 8th grade. I lived in a foster home. I lived in an orphanage. I was adopted. My father was the World Series of Poker champion in the 80s. My mom was raised in Japan and Hong Kong in the 50s and the 60s. I've traveled to over 50 countries. My kids were born in China. I even got a tattoo in Wan Chai when I was 16. And so it goes. That was 40 seconds, but I managed to turn it into 200 pages of my life. Tears, trials, triumphs, tribulations, tattoos, taxi, tequila. You could say my life was the life of the T's. And when I would finish a chapter, I would send it to my sister, and I would say, "Remember this?" And you know what she would say? "Nope." It didn't happen like that. You're lying. Granted, I was maybe 4 or 5 in some of these stories, but how can I be lying if it's my memories? Needless to say, the book died that day. I didn't want people to call me a liar, and I didn't want to be judged. So nobody ever read it. And my memories and my stories stayed hidden. Lying. That's what I'm here to talk to you about today. The negative connotation and the definition that comes around lying. Now, you're probably sitting there and going, "I don't lie, never have." So let's put it to the test. Raise your hand if in the last 6 months, you or your child have lied about a rat test. Now, keep your hand up or raise it now if you ever lied about being late or how not cute that baby was, or that your VPN or camera doesn't work when you're on a Zoom call. Now, raise your other hand if you recently ran into somebody and you said, "Hey, let's grab a drink or lunch," and you have no intention of ever seeing that person. Look around the room. We lie. We lie all the time. But see, I don't think these are lies, and they're bigger than white lies. So I came up with a new word for them. I like to call these like-bams. Lies that I know exist, but allow me space, sanity, serenity, silence, stoicism, sympathy. I'm not lying to you, I'm like-bamsing you. Because you don't need to know the truth all of the time, and when you want to. So let's put some numbers around this. I did a survey. I wanted to see, why do we lie, who do we lie to, and what do we lie about the most? Now, many of you, even in the audience, took the survey. We got about 300 respondents. Scream yes if you took the survey. Yes. All right, you're lying and you're lying, because I know you took the survey, but you're not comfortable screaming yes in a room of people you don't know. See, you just gave me a like-bams. So let's get to the numbers. Why do people lie? 32% to protect others. Okay, we get that. 27% to protect ourselves, and 27% to avoid awkward, uncertain, scary situations. And then it drops all the way down to 5% to make ourselves feel better, to inflate ourselves. Now, I'm sure you're still sitting there and saying, "Who is she to give me statistics and talk about lying?" Right? Well, that's easy. I'm experienced. I am a big, fat liar. And it's not like I lie about everything or everything that comes out of my mouth is a lie, but I have had some doozies. And this is one that changed me. My parents died when I was a kid. They actually passed away 3.5 years apart, but most people don't know that. I just say my parents passed away. Their death is the reason why I came to Hong Kong. Remember the adoption? Any HKS dragons in the house? Class of 2012. So a lot of kids in Hong Kong knew I was adopted, so nobody really asked about my parents. But when I went to college, that changed. The good side is you could reinvent yourself and be anyone. This was before cell phones and before Facebook. Now you know I'm lying and I didn't graduate in 2012. So when people would ask, where are your parents, came lie number one. Retired in Thailand. They joined the Peace Corps. Don't know, I was adopted. Or if I really liked that person, I would tell the truth and say they passed away. Now, this is where it got interesting. I cannot tell you how many people ask you how. Sorry to hear that. Can you tell me how they died? Was it awful? Was it together? So came lie number two. Long story. Let's get a drink. And then I would avoid them like the plague. Don't ask, you won't like the answer, and then they would avoid me. They died in prison, and then they would take a step back, or plane crash. And that's one I used often. And then something happened. I was telling a new friend the plane crash story, and you know what she said? I know somebody whose parents died in a plane crash in 9/11. My world stopped. It shattered. It was awful. I never thought my lies would hurt anyone. I owned it. I used it to protect myself. But someone, somewhere, did lose their parents in a plane crash. My lie took away from their truth. After that, I overcompensated. I overshared, even though it made me uncomfortable. Even if I would say, don't ask, those people would shy away. When I stopped lying, I didn't feel any better. I'm actually afraid of flying, and I've never even told my friends or family why. I blame it on turbulence. But I feel the plane crash gods are after me after that story. And that one lie has had such a hold on my life. Why I never told the plane crash lie again. I still don't believe strangers deserve to know how. That takes me to the second part of the survey. Who do we lie to the most? And wouldn't you know, number one, strangers. Number two, myself. Okay, you get that. The carb we didn't eat, the gym we didn't go to. But I want to focus on 3 and 4, friends and family. I actually think this should be a bit higher here. And I'm going to give you and explain why. In addition to the survey, I walked and I talked and I hiked and I biked with over 30 women in Hong Kong. I did this because I wanted to dive deep and learn more about their lives. And there's 2 stories I want to share. One, local female, early 30s. She has been lying to her mother for 3 years. Now, ever since she got a job over 10 years ago, she gives a portion of her salary and her bonus to her mother. It's very common here. But since 2020, she told her mother that her company no longer gives out bonuses. In the last 3 years, she's managed to save enough money and bought an apartment. And her mother is so proud. She told me if she never told that lie, it would have never happened. Story number 2, expat female in her mid-40s. She would tell people she has a twin sister. Now, she did this because the twin sister was a representation of her alter ego. The twin sister was more athletic, was more confident in everything she wanted to be. And when she herself reached those goals, the twin sister was no more. So on one of these hikes, I got called out by my friend. They said, "You missed somebody very important on that list of who do we lie to." Who do you think that is? Doctors. How many of you have had these questions? Miss Flowers, in 1 week, would you say you consume 1 to 2 or 3 to 4 alcoholic beverages? In 1 week, definitely have lied about that one. See, that's it. We are afraid to lie because we are afraid to be judged. Think about it. You don't tell your boss that you're late because you slept in or your manicure ran over. You tell your boss that your Uber was canceled or you're waiting for the maintenance guy, right? I've even had somebody on my team tell me their apartment flooded. We are constantly on our tippy toes, and we are afraid of what people will think, even when it's about being late. That goes to the last part of the survey. What do we lie the most about? Now, for the women, I only gave 7 options, and these are the top 2. Obviously, why we're late in Hong Kong, it happens. And then to say something, to say we understand something when we really don't. Now, at this point in the analysis, it was women, 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 and I started to think, what about the men? Who lies more? So I did some desktop research, and there's amazing reports and studies out there. So here's some fun facts. Men, why they do lie more than us, do you know what? They actually believe they're better liars than we are. So that made me really want to get a sampling. In the last couple weeks, I sent out that survey and got about 80 men. So in the original survey, there was one question that says, on average, in one day, how many times do you lie? Well, women said 30%, never, which is a lie. Men answered 11%. So let's look at what they lie the most about compared to women. The first thing, they lie about going to get drinks or lunch with someone when they don't intend to. The second one is telling you look good when they don't believe it. Ladies, we have trained our men well. I, for one, do not want my husband to ever tell me the truth about what I look like in skinny jeans. So, one last share, because I know you want to hear more stories about Hong Kong women and their lies. I couldn't go through all of them, but I wanted to share some powerful ones. Hating your body, not feeling accepted, whether it was a school or your friends, hiding the fact that you had an abortion or your own sexuality, deception about who you are or to get a job. These are lies that women in Hong Kong have told, and some of them looked at me and said they are better for it. Why some still believe they have issues, they said those lies help them get through the days and sometimes even the years. I know I haven't convinced all of you and that some of you still believe all lying is negative. I don't want to make you into a liar or forgive all the lies you've told, but I do want to leave you with a few things to consider. We all can be a little less judgmental. And if you are that person who asks those questions, how did your parents die? How much do you weigh? How much do you make? Why don't you want to have children? Why don't you want to get married? Know that a lie may be coming. Or next time, don't ask. And if you are like the majority of us and you have told lies, and you still hold a lot of guilt inside, I'm here to just say, let go and forgive yourself. Going forward, know how to understand those lies. Will it hurt someone? Or will it create an opportunity? Will it provide you protection or strength? Know the distinction and break it down. Who am I lying to? Why am I lying? And is it a like BAMS, where you can own the S? Because behind those lies are stories that range from silly to heartbreaking to life-changing. And you should be able to own that truth. The where, the when, and the with whom. We can take some of the negativity out of lying. We can create a world where like BAMs are accepted and you can control your S. It's okay to keep some of your skeletons in the closet. It's about 6 p.m. How many lies have you told today? Are you okay with that number or the type of lie told? I am finally okay with mine, and that's the truth. Thank you.